this one. Because
I just pushed record so that we can have this if anybody wants to watch it later.
You did say earlier about how the owl stitch was big. I don't know. I'm doing a 5/8, the 48 peg. I think this is the purple.
The purple KK.
This one is the 7/16 72, which I use all the time, and I get hats like this size. After it shrinks, but this ally is not shrinking at all. I mean, look how big that thing is.
Oh, interesting. I'm using the 7/16 64 peg. So I kind of have a smaller noggin.
I got the 3/8 72 in the small pegs, which is none of them are shrinking that I've tried.
Oh, interesting.
But it's a much better hat size. That's a much better hat size.
So are you doing owl eye all the way up, or did you do a different kind of brim?
No, I did it exactly like the video. She just did
she just did like a chain cast on.
One knit row, one purl row.
One knit row, one purl, like a garter row. And then
that's what I
got into it. Okay. I was doing a ribbed brim. Just a few rows of ribbed.
I wish I think I would like the hat better if it had the ribbed brim.
Yeah.
Than just starting into the hat. Because to me, which I like the brims, but to me, I feel like the hat's missing something like this. But also, I think it may work like a, like a 40s clutch hat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I get finished, to just,
when it kind of like folds, like where it's more like a little.
Yeah. Like a little.
Like a sun hat. Like kind of like a little sun hat.
Something like that's what I'm thinking I may try. But I would do a brim if I did it again.
Teresa, can you hear us? Hopefully she can hear us. She doesn't have her camera on. Hopefully she can hear us. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about how to do it? This will be my first time actually trying. So what I was understanding is basically you go forward 2, you just put it across both 2 hooks, go over on both of them. And then the next one, I go back around that one I just took over. So it's the second peg and I do 2. And that's all it is the whole way?
That's it.
Wow.
No purling.
That's amazing.
The only purl is in that rim. The brim.
Just in that first brim. And then the juniper was really interesting. I watched the video on that too. And that's all about just a double, like it's almost like a double the cast on when you wrap it twice for your cast on. Which I've done that cast on a lot of times, but I've never thought of it as a stitch where you wrap the same peg 2 times and then around. So that was cool too. So you come back around behind.
Christy, you look 100 times better than you did Saturday.
Oh, so I have felt better. I was telling the ladies that I was a little zealous today. And I was like, today's my first day. I was allowed to have something other than just clear liquids, which you only can have so much bone broth before you just don't want to drink broth anymore. So I was going to have a milkshake. And I made this milkshake and it was so good. My daughter helped me make it and I just started drinking it and I loved it so much. I drank the whole thing instead of, I'm only supposed to drink 4 ounces and I probably drank 10 ounces. And man, did my stomach hurt after that. And I was like, oh, I don't feel good. So it tasted really good going down. And then afterwards I was like, oh, that was way too much. So, but I have a lot more energy today, a lot more color.
You sound better.
Yeah, my throat doesn't hurt as bad anymore because the procedure they did, they put this thing down my throat in order to create the new stomach valve. And so my throat was really raw on Saturday and that's healed now. So now I'm just a little doubled over because I filled my stomach too much with yummy, yummy shake. The shake
That's
was really
easy
good.
to do when you haven't had anything for 3 or 4 days.
Right. Well, and it tasted so good going down. And my niece was visiting, and we were just talking, and I literally just forgot. Like I totally just wasn't even thinking, oh, you're only supposed to have this much, until about 15 minutes after I drank it, and then I was in really not good shape. I was like, oh, that really hurts. Like that really hurts. I should not have done that. And then I remembered. Then I remembered that they say I'm only supposed to have a half a cup or less, and I'm supposed to drink it over 20 to 30 minutes. Like it's supposed to be really slow. And so
that'd be hard to do with a milkshake.
Right. So I'm hoping I didn't cause any damage, and it will just like melt in there, and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And it will be fine. But yeah, but I felt way better. I slept a lot all day Saturday and pretty much all day Sunday. I was in bed. I would get up and walk around my kitchen table. I'd go from my bedroom to out to the kitchen and around the kitchen table and back to my room, because I'm supposed to walk for 10 minutes every hour to just keep circulation going. So I was doing that. But this morning I woke up feeling like, hey, I'm human again.
Yeah, but don't overdo, because it's easy to overdo also after surgery.
Yes. You have to listen to the body and do what it needs for sure.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Teresa made it.
Hello.
She's muted.
Hi, I made it.
I'm so glad
Good
you
job.
made it. So Teresa, did you get a chance to watch the video of how to do this?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't had a chance.
Okay, so I'm thinking I'll share the screen and we can watch the video of the stitch. So, I mean, I think some of us are, like, I watched it, which was really, really helpful. But since you haven't watched it yet, do you have what are you going to do? Are you going to do the juniper or the owl eye?
The owl.
The owl eye?
Where you were talking about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so she basically, are you starting with nothing on your loom right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys mind if we watch that first little bit so she can kind of start it that way?
That's good.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to share my screen. And this one right here. Okay. Can you see the
Yes.
screen? Perfect.
Yes.
One owl.
So she starts with a chain cast on.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite cast on.
Oh, good.
Mine too.
So that will be pretty.
Is this a hat?
Yeah, that's a hat.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do the hat or do you want to do the blanket one? I have both pulled up. The 10 stitch.
I think I'll do the hat. Looks a lot faster and easier.
Okay, cool. Can you hear her talking? Did I save it in a way you can hear her talking? It didn't. Usually there's a button to click where it will share the sound, but oh, there it is. They moved it. So funny when they move things. Right now let me
have that little knot in there, but I always hide it.
Now I can hear it.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to take the loom hook, put it inside the hook, and scoop it up so that I have a loop. And I'm going to pull this, and because I have this kind of loom, I'm just going to secure it on here, but you can just pull it and keep it tight. But I'm just going to put it on here just to keep it tight. And it came off there, just to keep it tight so I can keep my stitches nice and tight and even. And then I just take the loop, put it behind the pegs and tighten it up. And that's all you do. You keep doing it. You're in control of how big this loop is or how small this loop is just by pulling. Very, very easy cast on. And with the owl eye hat, you can use any cast on you want. I just prefer a nice flat one. If you're using E-wrap, what can happen is E-wrap has that slight curl. But you can use whatever you like, especially if you use a row of net and a row of pearl.
That's easy.
Okay, so it doesn't take long to cast on. It goes pretty fast with this. I'll just put you on pause and we'll catch up when I get closer to being at the starting peg.
Okay, so you just do your chain cast on basically.
So what she does is with her hands there to get it started.
Yeah.
She uses her hands to get it started. Is that through the whole thing or does she use her hook?
No, just for the chain cast on, she uses it.
Oh, that is new.
I always do it with my hand. What do you usually use, a crochet hook for chain cast on?
I started with the crochet hook because that's what the tutorial I watched first, but then I just went to my hands.
Yeah, I've
It's quicker
always
just
used.
to do it by the hand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. At least I know it's quick.
It is pretty quick. It's a pretty quick way to do it. So
Yeah.
you want me to keep playing or do you want to cast on your loom?
No, that's okay. I'll just, are you recording this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can look at it later.
Okay, that's cool. Well, we'll keep playing it then because I
Okay,
just
I'm
want you
coming
to
near
do what
the
you
end,
want.
so I'm going to take this off. There we go. Forgot which way I put it on there. And we're just going to do this. And the last one I usually just put right on. I have different ways I do this. This one I'm going to do like this. And I just knit that off. And then I knit this one off. And there I am, all cast on.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay,
Oh,
so then
that's so neat.
we're going to do one row of U-wrap and then one row of purl. Okay, so I'm just going to do.
So then she's just doing the U-knit wrap all the way around and a purl all the way around like a garter stitch.
Yeah, yeah, I know how to do
I'm just
that.
going to do U-wrap on the first peg, U-wrap on the second peg, and just U-wrap all the way around the loom.
Yeah.
And we'll catch up when I get around and do the one row of purl. Okay, my last U-wrap. And then we do one row of purl. And that just is so that it will stay nice and straight near the cast on.
What did you say?
Okay, so we just purl all the way around. You should know how to do a purl. You just put the hook in the loop, pull the new loop through, and then put it on the peg. There's lots and lots of videos on purl, though, if you don't know how.
Awesome.
You can get away a lot of times without even doing the row knit and purl and going right into owl eye, but it really depends on your tightness. Having the right tightness to go with it. This is always safer, especially it can vary with yarns too.
Okay.
So I always do the row of knit and the row of purl on the first few rows, the first couple rows. Okay, so we'll catch up when we get all the way around the loom. Okay, I've done my last row of purl, so we're ready to just start into the stitch. Now, all we do is on the first peg, we do a U-wrap, knit it off, come back around it in front and go over peg 1 and peg 2 and knit them both off. And if you keep it nice and loose, it'll be a lot easier for you to knit it. Okay, so whatever peg you're on is peg 1, you go behind and over peg 1 and 2 and you just knit it off. You're behind peg 1, you go in front of peg 1 and 2 and you just knit it off.
Behind peg 1 and 2.
And you just keep doing that. So every peg is getting 2 stitches on it. 1
Oh, every peg is getting 2.
here. When you go back around, go over this one, it gets 2.
Is
So that's all there is to it.
That's so interesting.
Chrissy, how long does it take for this hat? Like a day?
Yeah, it seems really fast to me.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty now she's using a bulky yarn. So I'm sure if you, depending on which yarn you're using, if you're using a bulky yarn, I'm sure it goes faster. I'm using a worsted yarn.
Right.
So I think you have to do a few more rows. But I love how fast the picking over is going. Like when I just wrap behind. This is my first time doing it also.
Yeah, this is really quick.
Yeah. All right, so that is, do you want to keep, are you good? Should we come back
I'm
to
good.
see everybody? Okay, I'm going to stop the share so we can all just visit together. Yeah, so I just barely started the owl eye part. I had about an inch of ribbed brim that I made just because I like to have a ribbed brim, making it stay on my head.
Right.
I have a small head. And now I'm jumping into the owl eye, but the idea of just wrapping the 2 pegs.
Does she follow like one round every wrap, one round purl wrap, one you wrap round? Does she do the same thing over and over? Like
No,
1, 2,
that's just for the cast on. So the cast on is for just the cast on, you do the chain cast on, a row of knit, row of purl, and then you just keep doing these the 2 at a time all the way up.
Oh, okay. 2 at a time after all this.
2
Okay.
pegs. Yeah, and that's the trick is the going behind the peg and wrapping the 2 to create that.
Yeah, I like doing it. Yeah. That's easy. Like I could have those done in a day. Bang, bang.
Right? I can't wait to see the project. I think we can all probably finish our project this week and while we're doing this. Some of you might even make more than one.
Yeah.
For me,
now, am I doing something wrong? Because my second stitch seems a lot tighter than my first stitch.
Mine does too. It always does.
Are they always tight?
I always
the first
think
one
the second
comes off
stitch-
easy. The second one's just a little tight.
Yes. And this purple one here is a cotton blend yarn. And it made my fingers sore.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'll rip this one back out. Chrissy, how is your worsted? You're using a single strand of worsted?
I am. I'm using, this is a Karen Simply Soft.
Yeah.
Kind of yarn. It's feeling pretty good. Coming over. The thing that I have to keep realizing is go back behind that first one instead of just going forward. Like I pull where it is. I'm like, oh, it's between the 2. And when it's between the 2, I have to go behind the one behind it and then in front. And a couple times I missed that and had to go back and go, oh, I didn't do the one. But now I'm getting in a rhythm. Like, oh, I've got this.
If you do it for very long, like
Roger wants to know if he can bring a couple of bags of trash over.
if you do it for very long, like Diane said, you get almost mesmerized, and then you're like, I don't know if I did that one or not.
Yeah, it's like, where am I? Where am I? But was I right in telling Teresa that you don't do the knit, the you knit and the purl again? That was just for the beginning.
Correct.
Okay, at the beginning.
Yeah. But you can do this entire thing for a blanket. Like the whole thing can be. Would you do garter stitch on the edges, or is it flat enough you could just do ally the whole blanket?
I did a 10-stitch ally, and it was perfect. It was perfectly flat, and it was one of my favorite blankets.
That's awesome. All right. I do need to run to the restroom really fast. That's one thing with this surgery is it's making me have to go to the bathroom more often. So I will be right back. I'm going to turn off my video. I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay.
Diane, how long have you been working on yours? You said you was working on it today.
Well, I had took my 24 peg and just did a little hat using that video, and it worked. There was a couple of stitches I messed up, and it was kind of when did I do that or not? And so now this afternoon I cast on my 48 peg, and I've just got, like
is that
3
worsted?
rounds on it.
Is that worsted weight, or is it a thicker weight yarn?
It's 5 weight. It's that loops and thread from Michael's, that Charisma yarn.
Yeah.
I use it a lot for hats. When it's on sale, I just buy them.
Is that a lot lighter? Those hats, that wool?
These are really, they're not terribly heavy feeling, and they work up really quick being the bulky.
Okay. And what size is for the loop or the loom?
I think we were all using something different. I was using the 48 peg, and it's my 5/8, a little larger gauge than what Nisi was using, I think.
I think Christy is using that one, and I'm using the 3/8 small peg gauge.
And I'm using the 7/16.
Hold yours up, Lisa.
Okay. Sometimes
What kind of yarn are you using, Lisa?
Oh, you just started.
I'm using a worsted weight, and I meant to start it this morning, but we're having to bottle raise a kitten, and I'm getting up at all hours of the day and night, and I slept through most of what I should have been doing.
Bottle raising babies, you have to do it around the clock.
Yes.
How many pegs have you got on that one, Lisa?
It is, I believe, this one's 72.
That's the one I started, but the hat does not shrink at all. And look how huge it is. I mean, look, it could be a cow. It'd be good for a cow, but it's way too big.
Yeah, I may, when I actually get it started, I may go back and use my adjustable hat loom. But sometimes I use this, depending upon what pattern and what stitch.
Well, I use this one a lot, the same one you've got there. I use it for most of my hats, but this one is just gigantic because it doesn't shrink at all, where most of the stitches shrink.
And are you using worsted, Nisi?
Yes, yeah. But like I say, it would make a fine cowl. It's just too big for a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a pretty cowl, actually. That's kind of a fun stitch for a cowl, too. It would fit a really big person's head. Not my head. I have a really small head.
Christy, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I know they got a lot of wood. Cindy's got a lot of wooden ones. What do you think of those ones they put together, those chain ones?
I have one.
The flexi. So I bought the flexi in both the 3/8 and the 5/8, and I really like them for portability reasons. Like, they make it really easy to travel with. So I'd made a baby blanket on one, and I was traveling, we were going across the country, and I could just collapse the whole thing into my bag, and it was really easy to carry. It doesn't give you a support. So like it's moving, you have to, it's kind of like it's ebbing and flowing with you rather than being like firm, this is it. So I almost had to use my body as the support in order to keep so I would end up having like 4 or 5 stitches that I would kind of lean against me as I picked so it wouldn't like collapse there. I think if I was like making smaller items, I prefer the stationary loom. I think if I'm making something big, because I don't like having to carry around big looms because they're heavy. So I did really like that. Yeah, I did really like that. And I did love the price point of them.
Yeah. Okay, I watched what's that girl that makes she's kissing and
Good Knit Kisses?
Good Knit Kisses.
Yeah. When she has them, she does a lot of blankets on them.
Yeah.
And I was looking at and I thought, I don't know. I kind of thought, well, they're not as sturdy as the ones I get from Cindy Loom. And I kind of thought, well, I'm going to ask you or Cindy what you thought of them before I even go and buy them.
Yeah, I enjoyed
to do a big blanket on one.
Okay.
But I mean, it all depends on your preferences and that sort of thing. But I like the stability that the wooden looms give you.
Yes.
And
it definitely doesn't give that stability. You have to figure out a new way to create that stability because it's moving with you, and that can be weird at first.
I feel like I'm fighting it the whole time I'm using it because it keeps collapsing. And so you've got to hold it in place while you work your stitch.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I got on my Cindy loom, I got a big blanket and I got it standing up.
She's back.
Oh, she put your volume.
Okay. My internet just like it said I had 1 bar left. I'm like, what happened? Sometimes it does that. All right.
I got my blanket on Cindy Loom, the figure 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it's nice and solid. And I thought, okay, I take it to, let's say I have a coffee, I could take and put it in my bag, my square one, and then I could take it out. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to ask Chrissy or Cindy if those link ones were any good. And now I know that, okay.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to them. You know,
okay.
The portability of them is really nice. If you want to be able to take it to the baseball park or on a road trip and you don't have the thing to go in a car and stuff like that, I think that's awesome. If I'm just at home in my recliner and I'm probably going to use one that's more solid.
Okay. Okay. I had to know all this because I keep seeing it. Yeah.
But I would to suggest to somebody who is on a income that they can't purchase as many looms, or you know they are just a beginner, I would say try the Flexi Loom and see if you like it, because you can make a lot of different things with it, which is, you know, and it doesn't take up as much space. So I think it does come down to preference. Lisa, you said you've used it.
I've used them. I have, I think all the different gauges of them, and for a small item, it's okay.
Okay.
But I would much rather have my wooden loom that's more stable and pegs aren't moving and stuff. Okay. And for some of those, if y'all, I don't know if any of y'all have used the big round Afghan looms. I was kind of intimidated by them at first. But after I got my first one, it's so easy. I just lay it on the arms of my recliner, and as I work it right in front of me, I just keep twisting it around, and they're real easy to use. Yeah. But of course, I know it. You know.
Are you talking about the 22-inch, our largest round loom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the 7/16, and then the 1/2 inch, I believe, the larger ones.
Yeah. Well, and they do make such beautiful size blankets. Like the blankets that come off of those 22-inch are just
that's good.
Such a perfect size.
Right. I've not gotten my big blanket that I started on it finished. I got it about 3 rows into it, and then I've forgotten what catastrophe we had happen. But it's in my bedroom in the box waiting, and so I hope this year to get back to it.
I know that's why most of my projects are hats and gloves, because it's more likely I'll finish them.
And I make hats for our underprivileged school kids up here.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I have that project almost finished, well, I'm going to get back to some of my projects.
So good. I think it's easier to finish a project when it's got a purpose for it. When it's like, oh, I got to finish this for this homeless thing, or for these schools, or for this. When it's just like, oh, I feel like making this, then it waits forever to be finished.
But I use I think it's the 104 count. Is that the 1/2 inch or the 7/16? I don't remember. But I use it for making cows.
Oh,
and
okay.
I liking it.
Yeah, the 104, for some reason I'm thinking that was 5/8, but maybe not. I know that because the small round Afghan, the large round Afghan is 120 pegs in 1/2 inch. Yeah. And so I think, so I think it's larger than that. It would probably be the 3/4, because 3/4 is 60 and then 90.
I only have 7/16 and 1/2 inch in those larger looms.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, what I was going to tell the others, if you get into this hat making, you can, whatever stitch you make your hat with, you can use a larger loom, and you can make a cowl or a scarf that will match it. That's what I do a lot.
Oh yeah, like with the small round Afghan, it makes like the perfect one up.
Just use the same stitch.
That's great. So when you make them for the schools, do you do both or just one or the other that you give to them?
I just do hats for them, and I'll admit I like doing loom knitting best, but for production to send to the school, I use my Addi machine.
Because they're so much faster. I haven't actually ever tried an Addi machine.
Well, I can do 5 caps on the Addi in one afternoon.
Wow.
Whereas if I loom knit it, it's going to take probably, if I'm using worsted weight, if I sat down and worked on it all day, it would take me a day.
Yes.
But I have my mother's over there telling, "No, how many you've done?" Last year I sent 125 to school.
That's fabulous.
This year I have 170 over there.
Wow. That is
Lisa?
so cool, Lisa.
I've still got to go to the part that I hate. I love the knitting, but I hate sewing. So now I've got to go back in and work tails in and sew the tops up. So I've got 170 that I've got to sew up. But
how do you keep your shoulder from hurting, Lisa? Because when I crank out 1 or 2, then my shoulder is just absolutely killing me. Then I have to wait until my shoulder stops hurting before I can start cranking again.
Well, sometimes I do have that, but then I've moved. I used to do it sitting over here at the dining table, and I would attach the machine to a dining chair and stuff, and I was a little bit more bent over. But I've moved it this year over to in front of my reclining chair, and it just seems to be a better height than I still clamp it down to the dining chair, but I set that right in front of my recliner, and it just seems to be a better height than I can rest my right arm on the arm of the chair the arm of the recliner I can rest it on, and it helps to keep my arm from getting so worn out and tired.
When I look at the Addi machine, just trying to like string it looks so hard to me. But is it actually not that difficult?
No. And you do have to pay attention and make sure that all of the teeth catch it on the first couple of rows.
Uh-huh.
And after that, and I mean, every now and then, you have one that it jumps the ship, and it's easier to just take it off and undo it and start over again.
Okay.
But it's easy.
And it's best for the worsted weight yarn, correct?
Yes, but it doesn't like all worsted yarn.
Right. Okay.
Like,
is that the one you guys were talking about that you have to put some waxy stuff on it to make it slide easier?
Yes. On the brands that the machine doesn't like, if you pull it through thread magic, then it'll 9 times out of 10, it'll go right through.
Oh.
And then I read the suggestion of using silicone earplugs, and you just press it right underneath your feed, so where the yarn kind of runs across that, and it was like $4 and something cents for a package of 10 of them, and I get, oh gosh, I don't know how many caps I get with just one earplug.
Wow.
You tape it on?
Very inexpensive.
You tape it on?
No, the silicone earplug, it's real pliable and stuff, and it's not sticky, but you just kind of stick it,
wedge it,
press it into each side of it, and wedge it in underneath your yarn feed area, and it just sticks there. And I bet you I got, I don't know, probably 50 or so caps out of one earplug. And I got them on Amazon.
Wow, that is cool.
So the silicone take the
or our HEB store, but it was quicker to get it at Amazon because it was going to be a few days before I went to the grocery store.
I buy everything on Amazon.
Yeah, same here. Is it cold where you live, where they need hats all the time?
In Texas?
Yeah.
We have some cold winters, but I mean, it's not as cold as what other states.
Yeah,
it's
you've
not
been
cold
Canada.
not as cold as Canada. Of course, I found out from my friend that she still has family in Canada. She's from there.
Yeah.
But sometimes the winter's not as bad as I thought it would be. But I use mostly worsted weight here. Now, in some of the northern states, you may be wanting to use the chunkier yarn.
Oh
that
yeah.
will produce heavier
If you're
cap
up
and
in
stuff. But for
Minnesota
here,
and stuff. Teresa,
what-
is it
and what
pretty cold where you are?
Yeah. This winter we had it -40, -45 with the wind.
Woo!
Yeah, when it's -40 with the wind, sometimes goes to -45. And if you have electric cars, they don't start.
Oh no!
Yeah. So,
Shh, Sophie, stop.
so
My
like I
dog's barking because the doorbell rang.
said, no, it gets cold here, but
I
I
guess
have
somebody brought food.
I got a gas
You want
car.
to go check?
So, they're trying to push here up in Canada electric cars, but they don't realize that
Stay.
here in Canada, like in Calgary and Edmonton, like up north in Fort McMurray, where the oil is getting drilled,
Uh-huh.
the you could go to -50 to -55 down there,
Ooh.
and they leave their cars or diesels running all night.
Or else they won't start in the morning.
Exactly, the diesel freezes up.
Wow.
Like a solid ice. Okay?
Wow.
So when somebody says, "Oh, buy an electric car," really?
Yeah, well, because in the cold, an electric car, the battery just dies. So when we were in the Peace Corps in Mongolia is really cold too. We would get to -40. And my parents sent us a digital camera, it was right when digital cameras were just coming out.
Yeah.
And so, I muted myself. How did I do that? Oh, Clay
You're
is here.
good. We
Okay.
still hear you.
We still hear you. Yeah.
He's downstairs. You can go grab him. And so we were so excited to have this digital camera. And then we'd go outside to try and take pictures. The battery would last like 15 minutes and was dead because it's the lithium. The lithium batteries do not like cold.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, now it's pointless. Now I can't buy film for my regular camera, and I have a digital camera that only stays charged for 10 minutes. What's the point?
Like if we get hot weather, but that doesn't happen until May, June, July, August, September, October. Well, the middle of October, then you can see where it's getting fall, it's cooling down, and then
what is your hot
Halloween,
weather?
that's when it gets cold again. So
what temperature do you consider hot weather?
well, we're in you guys are, what are you guys, not Fahrenheit, are you?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we do Fahrenheit.
Yeah. We do
You do Celsius, right?
yeah, Celsius. So when it gets I don't know, when you guys when we get like when it's 40 or 50 here, that's warm.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it gets hot, like really up to 80 or 90, oh, we love it, but then you got to stay out of the sun because you get sunstroke.
Weather, the craziness of weather.
Yeah. But like I said, I was born here in Canada, so I'm used to it, and I've been to California twice. So the first time I was down there, the first time I was in Disneyland, my kids were little, and they said to me, "Oh, you guys all live in igloos?" I said, "No, we don't live in igloos. We live in houses." "Well, how do you keep warm?" I said, "We got gas. We turn on the gas. Boom." "Oh, well, how do you get around?" I said, "We've got winter tires. We don't slide." "Oh, okay." That, it's like some of the, well, I'm saying not all
stopping the
Americans.
dogs. I lost my pick somewhere in my bed.
No, I said, no, we don't live in igloos. I said, and they don't live in igloos.
I'll just visit for the next.
So, and that's what I said.
You tell them I just have 15
But
minutes
other
left
than
on
that,
this. Okay.
yeah. I just find certain Americans do ask questions like that. But yeah, I've been to California twice, been to Mexico. So you know what? Yeah.
You've been to Mexico? I haven't been to Mexico.
Twice.
Which is kind of silly because it's really pretty close to me. But hey, Sophie, stop. So the doorbell rang and the dogs went crazy, and I was trying to find stuff and I lost my pick. Like, have you ever done that? Where all of a sudden you're like, wait, where did it go? Where did the pick go? So now I have my loom, I have my yarn, and I have no
way
pick.
to hook.
So weird. So strange.
Yeah, no, I do like the warm weather, but last time I went to Mexico, the first time I burnt myself, so.
Sunburns are not fun. That is for sure.
But yeah, no, I don't mind living here. I get used to it.
Were you born in Canada?
Yeah, I was born in Canada.
That's cool. Yeah, I was born in Utah, so I've lived here most of my life. We spent a couple years, my husband and I lived down in Georgia for a couple years in the South, and that was fun. Very humid, very different from the dry desert. And then we lived in Milwaukee, which was very cold. And northern, we were right by the lake, Lake Michigan, and there was a lot of humidity that came off of that lake. And that city, so I don't drink alcohol, and we were pretty young when I got there, and there was this smell, and I kept going like, what is that smell? Like, it smells like rotten bread. What is that smell? And so finally they told me it was the hops, because there's like 6 breweries in Milwaukee. That's what it's mostly well known for, is making beer. And so it's the city that smells like beer. I was like, oh, that's what I'm smelling. I thought that was fascinating. All the Germans that were settled there. So brats and beer was like served constantly at all the parties.
Well, the funny thing is when you talk to American people, they always assume that we live in igloos and we don't, how we get around, and go, no. I said, do you want to do the history on us? No. I said, I think Canadians know more about the American history than they know about us.
Oh, I think that's very true. I don't think we study a lot of like European history because we study about the Revolutionary War and things like that. Yeah. I know nothing about Canada. Like, I don't even know, like, how did Canada get settled? Why is it its own country? Who started? Does it have a king or parliament? I have no idea. Yeah. I should do some research.
And I had visions of it just being real icy looking all the time and stuff. Just kind of a countryside, and my friend that is from there and still has family there, she sent me back pictures of the cities and the parks and stuff like that. I mean, it looks nicer than some of the American cities here, but I had no idea that it was that developed a place.
I'm a big Anna Green Gables fan. And so I know I've always dreamed of going to Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia and that area. That's still on my bucket list. I have been I have seen Niagara Falls and been just right across the border from New York. I came into Canada for like a half a day. Yeah. But I have not made it to Calgary.
My idea of what it looked like was because from the time I was little, I've always watched lots of nature shows. Yeah. Of course, the nature shows, they're out in the forest and stuff like that. And I had never seen the cities and stuff of Canada. I'd always heard about them, but to me, that was just kind of something that you hear about because of all the woodland areas and mountains and ice and snow and stuff that I'd always seen.
Well, we're very popular for just outside of here. When you leave Calgary, if you go to Banff, that's where you see the mountains, the Three Sisters. You go see our lakes. You could camp down there. You go there to Banff. You go up to our hot springs and you go in the hot tub. Ooh. And that's where a lot of people go. And we do a lot of walking, okay, in Banff. A lot of walking. If you got your hiking boots, you go to Banff. You end up spending a lot of going around in the mountains and going there and hiking and
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. It's similar to your guys' in Washington State.
Okay. Yeah, like the Washington, Oregon, along the coast there.
Yeah, and we got that. And just like if you go to BC, same thing, a lot of mountains and a lot of walking. And if you go down through, I think it's part by BC, you can go to Seattle, fairly close to Seattle, and you go into the States there. Same things, Montreal or Spokane down there, Montana, all that states down there. You can walk, do a lot of walking in Canada. There's a lot in Montana and Seattle, a lot of walking. We believe in a lot of walking in our mountains, and yeah.
That's awesome. I need to plan a trip to Canada.
Well,
I'll come
well,
say
yeah,
hi, Teresa. I'll come knock on your door. Teresa, I came to visit.
Yeah, no, it's quite nice here, and it's just that we don't get there, you know, because everything else, you know, working and getting on with daily life, to get there, it takes, what is it, to go to Banff, like it takes, you got to drive out there from Calgary out there, and it takes 2.5 hours, and by the time you get there, it's, you see deers and bears, but you're not supposed to go near them, but just don't even feed them, just see them, take pictures, and get on
Is
through.
Bath, is it a national park? Like, is it a protected area?
Yes. Yeah, we protect our animals.
That's awesome. And the bears and everything. That's really cool. Kind of like we have Yellowstone.
Yeah, we have the cougars, but you stay away from. They let you know when the cougars are out. Stay away from that path and hang on to your animals. Yeah, we are a lot of outdoor people, and yeah.
That's fun. That's super fun.
Oh.
I love it.
And then our big hub too is usually in July. We have the Calgary Stampede, where we get a lot of people from the States that come up to here, and they're really excited about it because it's all about horses and rodeo and chuck wagon races.
Oh, it's a big rodeo. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've watched stuff about that on television.
The Calgary Stampede.
Yeah. The Calgary Stampede.
That sounds super fun.
Long time. And we get a lot of Americans coming up to that, and they're really excited to see it, you know, and yeah.
I always think it's funny because, like, in Utah, we have a lot of national parks. We have Arches National Park and Zion's National Park. And I go and visit these places, and there's people from all over the world, people from Germany and France and all over the world. And I'm like, like if I lived in France, would I really want to come to Utah? But it's because like we're just used to it, because that's like, oh, I'm here all the time. But like I dream of going and seeing the Eiffel Tower. I think that would be incredible. But I'm sure if you lived by the Eiffel Tower, you'd be like, it's just the Eiffel Tower.
Well, it's like here in Austin. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but they have the Austin City Limits Music Festival.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Austin City Limits was a television show that started here in Austin. Oh gosh, I was probably in about second grade or first or second grade when they started that show. Well, now it's turned into this, and it's still an ongoing show on the public broadcasting system.
Okay.
Well, now they've turned it into this big music festival that they have in Austin down on Town Lake. Yeah. Austin's about 30 minutes from where we live now.
Okay.
And I said, you could not pay me to go to that anymore. I hate those big crowds in Austin. So we thought nothing of going down to Town Lake to some of the things they had.
Yeah.
Now you could not pay me.
It's just too crowded.
It is. But there are people that fly in literally from all over the world to go to this music festival.
That is
to me, that's just crazy.
So interesting how different people, find different things important. I'm a big Broadway girl, so I'll go to New York to see a Broadway show anytime I get a chance. And there's other people who wouldn't go near New York City. They wouldn't. Hey, will you take the dog, Alyssa? So
that's my next project, to go to New York.
That's your next project?
To Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to see a show.
Nice.
I'm not scared to go. Like I'll say to my daughter, let's go to New York. She say, okay. So we'll get on a plane, go down there, see a Broadway show, and come on home. Like to us, that's like fun,
Yeah. That's my favorite. I've only been 3 times in my life, but every time I go, I'm going again in August this summer with the people I work with at Center Stage Youth Performers, where I direct. But I just the hustle and bustle of the city and Times Square and the lights and the shows, it's just I wouldn't want to live there. But it's really fun to visit and feel the energy. One of my on my bucket list is to be in Times Square for the ball drop on New Year's someday in my life. My husband thinks that's crazy and he has no desire. He's like, why would you want to be freezing in the middle of New York City for a ball drop?
And they get cold too.
And they lock you into your little paddock that you have to stay in
the whole time.
Hours before they enter this. And so I'm there with your husband. I'll watch it on television, but
that's what he says. He goes, I'll watch it on TV and it can end at 10 p.m. and I can go to bed. I'm like, that's no fun. That's no fun. So I might not ever make that happen because I probably would be too scared to go by myself. But I think it would be cool. I think it would be fun.
I probably wouldn't go to bed at 10 o'clock, but I would not be out in that mess. I call it a mess with that many people in the cold and all that.
I have no problem with that because I'm a people person. I like meeting other people. Like when I went to Montreal here in Canada here, I went there and I says, I don't speak French. And then they looked at me and said, oh, no problem, madame. And I talked to lots of people and I just enjoyed it. Like, yeah, it was really fun. And my son and my daughter and son-in-law says, why do you have to talk to everybody? I said, I don't talk to them. They talk to me. They say, hi, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Calgary. I said, oh, what are you doing here? I said, I'm with a ringette. Then they go on. And then they say to me, what's your name? And I tell them, Teresa. And they go, Teresa. And my name comes out in French, Teresa. So yeah, so it was, I like it.
I'm a people person. I ran my dad's business for like 20 years. I finally gave myself the title of general manager so people would talk to me on the phone, but I did a little bit of everything. But I love talking to people every day and stuff, but I just don't like the huge crowds like going to the concerts and stuff around here anymore. But I do miss not being out in the public because I did lots of retail work from the time I was in, I guess, freshman in college on up to when I went to work to run Dad's business. And I miss not seeing people like that every day now that I'm disabled and don't work. But I just don't like large crowds anymore.
I can't handle a lot of crowds. I like the one-on-one, right?
Oh, look, Cindy's finally joining us for the last 5 minutes.
Okay. Where is she?
Her iPad, it said she's joined. It said Cindy's iPad. So let's see if she gets in here.
Kind of missed her.
Hi, Cindy. We missed you. Can you hear us? Do you know how to turn your camera on? Ask to unmute. Click that. Maybe it will help her.
Oh, yeah.
I got it. It's just not been one of those. I told you, computer. That's why Christy's my computer person, not me.
It's okay.
Yeah, we were going to be back 45 minutes ago, and then we're driving past the O'Reilly, and my husband goes, oh, I have to stop and grab something. And I'm like, okay.
There you are. Hi, beautiful lady.
Sorry, guys.
We've been having a good old time. We've been learning all about Canada, and so we need to plan a trip to Canada. And we were learning about Austin. We need to plan a trip to Austin. We got to do all the trips.
But I don't live there anymore, and I don't recommend living there.
Oh, don't go to Austin.
Yeah.
Where should we go?
Come on out to Dripping Springs where I live.
Dripping. Oh, that is a really cool name. Dripping Springs.
Yeah.
The town was actually founded down by a dripping springs. Some of us jokingly call it drinking springs now because I don't know about other parts of the country, but right now all these little wineries and distilleries and stuff have popped up just on every little street corner. And if you're into drinking wine and that sort of thing, I don't hold that against you. But because of all the medicines and stuff I've been on for years, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And so it's grown considerably It's not the little bitty tiny town that it used to be, but it's still a heck of a lot better than being in Austin.
What's the next town closest to it?
Well, Austin is the big place. Then, if you go Ranch Road 12, there's Wimberley, then Blanco, Fredericksburg.
I've heard of Blanco.
A lot of people know Fredericksburg because it's turned into a very touristy town. And Johnson City, where President Johnson, LBJ, was from.
Right.
But
so how many people are on Lumen today?
I was working on my hat and then I lost my pick. Disappeared.
Did the dog take it?
The dog might have taken it. This doorbell rang and my dogs went crazy and all of a sudden the pick was gone. So that stopped my looming. I was like, well, there you go. It's missing.
Oh, speaking of pick, thank y'all for correcting the whatever happened on my order.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. I'm glad that you sent the message.
Usually you have to punch it and wait and punch it and wait. And last night when I placed my order, it just flip. And I didn't have a chance. I don't even know where the code little square was. It's usually entering. And it just flipped it all the way through to process my order.
Well,
so thank you.
Not a problem. If you ever have that problem again, you just let us know.
This is what I'm starting on is my grandbaby's baby blanket.
Oh, those are pretty colors.
So
I love that.
Stripes of them, but
Cindy, I have to run. The doorbell was actually my niece who's visiting from Tennessee with her baby.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna go see this little cute baby of hers who's not so little. He's 1 and walking, but I've only met him once. So Calais is in town. So you guys can stay on for a little bit. That's okay. It is 5 o'clock. So you guys can decide how long you want to chat. We'll plan on being on again on Wednesday at 4.
Okay.
And
So
it's going to be way fun.
Do Wednesday?
Well, we can see how far you've gotten on your project. I'd love to look at the juniper stitch on Wednesday, or look at how to do the how to do a 10 stitch, like how to do the actual turns, because that's the tricky part on the 10 stitch. So I think that's kind of
do that.
Okay. So what would you prefer to do on Wednesday? Today we learned the owl eye. It's so cool.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come teach me.
I'll come teach you. And would you rather do the juniper on Wednesday, or would you rather do the juniper? Okay, let's plan on
juniper.
Let's do the juniper on Wednesday, and then we'll see if we want to look at because I believe you can use any stitch on a 10 stitch blanket, right? You're just learning how to do the connecting part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go, guys.
Okay.
I'll see you Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna go myself.
So Christy, I've got to go too.
Okay, has everyone got to go?
Keep it an hour. So
okay, everybody.
we'll see you Wednesday.
All right, we'll see you